promptly vanished until you casually wandered up to Molodiyozhnaya's station 3 years later, claiming to have saved the world, but lost little Orpheus in the process. Is this correct?
Yes, General, it is, but...
You are charged with many crimes against the state, including desertion, lying to a superior officer, and sedition. Any one of these charges bears the punishment of execution by firing squad.
General, you must be reasonable. I did my best. It's all true, I swear. I swear upon the lives of my family.
Oh, do you? Auntie Marcia and Uncle Vanya, the traveling tinker and the pig dentist, or perhaps Cousin Pavel, the criminal mastermind with the unhealthy taste for eggs. How stupid do you think I am, Comrade Devalov?
Sutayu, it is all true.
Maybe your toy maker, or was it watchmaker, father, who apparently taught you all he knew, despite being killed when you were less than 5 years old.
I was a fast learner?
You have precisely 1 minute to convince me not to summon the guards, and have you shot on the spot.
A minute? A lifetime? It's all I need, General. I was astounded. My father, I told you, I think I told you, he was a toy maker, and he often played with clockwork parts.
Tavarish.
But this made all those childhood wonders pale into insignificance. And it was fortunate indeed that my uncle...
Vanya, the pig dentist?
No, my other uncle, Sasha, had taken me mountaineering in the Urals during my childhood, for it was only by scaling these giant mechanical parts that I would reach Little Orpheus.
Yes, I had been thinking that it seems awfully convenient that you were such an accomplished climber. I don't, however, recall any mention of this Uncle Sasha in your file.
He was a very private man.
A very unlikely man.
That was Uncle Sasha's blessing and his curse.
சாக்கு முட்டையெல்லாம் கிளாக் கூட கட்டி போட்டிருக்கானுங்க. வெயிட் பண்ணி போகலாம். ஓடலாம். இந்த கீயை இதை எடுக்கலாம். திரும்பி எடுக்கலாம். பார்க்கலாம் எதெல்லாம் வருதுன்னு. சென்ட்ரல் லெவலில் வரலாம். ஓகே, இதில் வெயிட் பண்ணலாம். ஓடிரு. ஐயோ, oh. Just a minute.
Those great wheels and cogs crashed and boomed. The vast hands of all time crunching forever and ever around.
Ivan Ivanovich.
Pendulums and springs and great big wheels and tiny little wheels.
Tavarish Privalov, stop!
Though at least the Mengf were not here, especially as they seemed to infest the world below the surface. Mengf everywhere. Mengf. Many Mengf. Mengf aplenty. Mengf.
You are babbling, comrade. Enough.
செயின் கீ இழுக்க மாட்டேங்கிறான். ஓகே சூப்பர். அதில் மாட்டிக்கிட்டோம், நெஞ்சிருவோம் அந்த பக்கம். வெயிட் பண்ணி இருப்பேன். ஏய்யா ஓடிட்டு அங்கே குதிக்கலாம். போகலாம் 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 போகலாம்.
But where was Toll? Aha! High above. On the clock face, perhaps. With his radios and his crystals. Oh, if I could just reach him, I could use the bomb.
There is no bomb. You have no idea how to make a bomb. You have no idea about how to do anything one might actually expect of a cosmonaut.
The bomb?
Ivan Ivanovich! Time is up.
அதை வந்துட்டோம்.
Stop talking, Tavarish. You don't know what happens next. It is obvious. You've done very well. I applaud you for your efforts and your story. It is a wonderful tale, Comrade Privalov. I have enjoyed it immensely. But every story needs an ending. And it is clear yours does not have one.
I just need more time.
I think that even if I gave you all the time in the world, it would not be enough.
No, General. I can do this. That is, I remember what happens next. I just need to catch my breath and compose myself.
We both know how this story ends, comrade.
But little Orpheus, you haven't heard what happened.
We will find out soon enough. You will be executed, and another expedition will be sent.
No, you cannot. You cannot. We must never go back. You don't understand.
Make me then. Make me understand. I am a kind man, although you may not believe this. I do not want to have you shot. So help me. Make me understand. Tell me what happened to little Orpheus.
It was.
Ivan Ivanovich?
It was. It was. No. I'm sorry, General. I'm sorry, I have no idea. You are right. I simply cannot see what happened next. It's just a blank, General. There's nothing there. I am very tired, you see.
Comrade Privalov. Ivan.
You're right. It's over, General. Perhaps you would be so kind as to write to my mother for me.
Of course I will.
You are a kind man, as you have said. And, General,
Yes, Ivan.
was it a good story?
Oh, yes. It was an excellent story.
Thank you, General. I'm just sorry I couldn't give you an ending.
Unless...
General?
Quiet, Tovarish, I am thinking. Unless... I seem to remember that there were many problems with little Orpheus during production.
General?
Problems with the casing around the atomic battery. Concerns.
Concerns, General?
Yes, concerns. Unlikely though that might be. Yeah, it seems if I remember that it failed to secure properly. A sharp blow could spring the hatch and expose the fragile casing of the bomb to any would-be vandal.
I'm not sure I follow.
A resourceful yet forgetful hero might, one would think, take advantage of that fact.
But how, General? Where would I find something to strike it with?
The son of a watchmaker would easily find something within a giant clock mechanism that resembled a hammer, surely.
A hammer? Why, yes, General. I do remember now. I grasped the hammer-shaped thingamabob.
Let's just agree it was a hammer, Ivan.
Yes, of course. Let's do that. I recovered my senses, shook my head, and looked about me. In my distracted stupor, I had climbed further up the tower than I ever thought possible. In front of me was the clock face, and I gazed out through it at the sheer expanse of history. And I knew whatever happened next... happened next?
The hand of destiny had fallen upon your shoulder.
Yes! It had. And what an extraordinary hand it was.
கேமரா கொண்டு வந்து ஏதோ உடைக்க போகிறானா என்ன யாரா அவன் மண்டையில் ஆடுறான் கேமரா ஓடிக்கிட்டே இருக்கணுமா அவனாலும் உடச்சிட்டே வரான் ஃபாஸ்ட்டாக உடைக்கிறான் வந்துக்கிட்டே இருக்குது இன்னும் எவ்வளோ தூரம் வரணும் ஐயோ அடவா அது ஒன்றுமே இல்லையே அவசரமாக மாட்டிக்கிட்டானே ஐயோ அதில் ஜம்ப் பண்ணக்கூடாது ஓகே ஓகே ஜம்ப் பண்ணக்கூடாதுன்னு ஐயோ
And so, Thor was defeated. Little Orpheus destroyed, the bomb lost forever.
Not just that, General. In that moment, time sprung back to its proper shape, and I found myself once more in Plutonia, as the start of my journey. But the wound in the interior sky was gone. The drill was gone. It was as if I had never been here. And they were nymph, free and happy, without the tyranny of toll, free to pursue their simple lives.
But we can never go back?
Never, General. One drill, one metal sphere, one lone cosmonaut was nearly enough to destroy time and unleash the tyrant toll upon our world. Who would think an innocuous beeping radio housed in a ball of metal could change the world so dramatically?
Who indeed? But tell me, what of you? And what of your return to the surface?
I stayed amongst the Mienk for as long as I could. But I
யாரோட
didn't
இதெல்லாம்
realize
பாரு,
they had begun to
அவனோட சிலை
worship
வச்சு
me
விட்டுருக்கு.
as a king.
அவனை கடவுளா
Oh,
கூப்பிடுறாங்க
General,
எல்லாரும்.
I am a good socialist and could not allow this workers' paradise to become corrupted. And so I left that wonderful land for the last time.
And then?
And then I walked. For 2 years I wandered, always looking for a way home, through lands and worlds almost beyond imagination. Until one day I emerged, blinking into sunlight, and realized I was home.
Until one day I emerged, just like that? You just found your way back to the surface?
Well, General, it was a little more complicated than that. There were great obstacles to overcome and terrible challenges to face and incredible lands to explore.
Enough, Ivan. Little Orpheus is lost forever. The interior is sealed. You have returned with a story of socialism, triumphing over incredible odds. It is, as I said, enough for one night. Enough for my report, at least.
General, if I may...
Comrade Ivan Ivanovich Pribalov, you are found guilty of all charges brought against you and sentenced to execution by firing squad. However, having listened to your story, I believe you are quite mad. In other words, I find your madness guilty, not you. And we cannot execute madness. And indeed, there are lessons to be learned, even in the depths of this madness. Perhaps the Americans were right to send the chip after all.
So, General?
Get out of my sight, Ivan. Go home. Enjoy a state pension as a madman. Just make sure I never see you again.
Yes, General. Of course, General. Anything you say. I shall be small and quiet and live a life without excitement and...
Out! Until one day I just emerged. Oh, very good, Tavares. Very good indeed.
Hey, dog.
Who's the best space dog? Oh, где моя хорошая, хорошенькая моя, ты просто космическая. Hey, who's the best hairy cosmonaut? It is indeed a lovely sunset, and it reminds me of the skies of Peru. I didn't? I never told you about the wonderful Sky City? Well, it was an extraordinary place, but one filled with dangers. Well, it might have been simple for you to cross it, but you were in a space capsule. I had to rely on my own 2 feet, my noshki. Feet which, I might add, had just crossed the interior, beaten the villain Toll, and helped inspire the Mienk to a workers' revolution. Oh, that's all very easy for you to say, but your idea of civilized behavior is licking your own bottom in public. No. My adventures above the clouds were filled with untold dangers, death-defying escapes, and some really quite extraordinarily large Bielorybitsa. And it happened like this.
Weeks had passed since I left Plutonia, and one evening, exhausted, I simply fell asleep at the foot of a strange windmill. And when I awoke, well, that thought didn't cross my mind. I was exhausted after all. This is besides the point, my nosy canine friend. What matters is this. When I awoke, the windmill and the ground around it had been carried high into the air. What magic was this? Что за магия? As unlikely, perhaps, as a suitcase-sized dog orbiting the center of the Earth for many years. Quite.
இந்த இடத்துல போட்டு பாரு மீன் மாதிரியே ஒன்று அப்புறம் பேரஸ்லெட்டு.
Quick as a flash, Kakmonia, my training leapt into play, and I began to paddle the strange contraption through the clouds in search of answers. It is entirely possible that a miller who owns a windmill capable of levitating high into the air may also own a flying machine. Oh, now you're just being silly. May I continue my recounting of how I sailed over the sky gardens towards the mystical city of Peru? Oh, I must, my moil shatidrug. I must.
வித்தியாசமாக இருக்கு. யார்லேயே பறக்கிறாரா? அடுத்தது
What powerful emanations! What mighty gusts! What an epic squall! They reminded me of Cousin Pavel, yes! But whereas his rearward zephyrs could curdle milk and tarnish the teaspoons, these magical wafts only serve to carry me aloft and onwards.
மேலே பார்த்து இந்த முள்ளை வச்சா யார் மேலே பார்த்து போகுது பாரு.
But something was afoot in the gardens of Peru. This horrid muck staining the surfaces and making my nose curl. Yes, it was positively Pavelian in scent. But it did not belong here. I think I once told you of Auntie Masha's passionate encounter in a cable car with the manganese entrepreneur from Chiatura. Now, Auntie Masha told me that there was a disagreeable stain and smell all around those factories and smelting works. Our industry is not without its dangers. Could it be that the once bucolic gardens of Peru were being corrupted by unchecked pollution? After all, science is a double-edged sword, my bristly confidant. Consider Zemnikov. Of course. I apologize. Прошу прощения. Two-headed dogs is perhaps a rather insensitive analogy, but not without justification in this instance. I have seen the blemished lands around Norilsk, but I could not believe that I would find such pollution here. But this was nothing to the true horror of what was shortly to unfold.
ஹெலிகாப்டர் போன யாரில் பறந்துக்கிட்டே இருக்கான் பாரு. பேரஷூட்டு மேலே போகிறான். அடிப்படை சூப்பராக அமுங்கி கொடுக்குது பாரு உள்ளாடி. கரெக்ட் தானே, மாற்றிக்கலாம். மேலே என்ன போகுது, கீழே போனால் தப்பாக போகுதோ. பார்க்கலாம். கருப்பாக ஒன்று வருது. ஏய், என்ன மாதிரி ஒரு பெரிய உருவம். ஐயா,
That terrible, страшная машина, spewing its poison into the air, had created a monstrous thing. A being, a malignant spoiler of the noble and pure, and it had taken on the form of its prey. Well, of course. No, конечно, I was the prey. The citizens of Peru had clearly long since fled the evilly scented smoke, but I inadvertently wandered into its lair. Oh, I know. Misfortune seemed to dog me. Oh, sorry, I do apologize. To follow my every footstep. But no time to ponder, no time to bemoan the hand that fate had dealt me. No, all that was on my mind was escape, конечно.
எல்லாமே வித்தியாசமாக இருக்குல்ல. ஃபுல்லாக யார் தான். பில்டிங்கெல்லாம் பாரு, செம்மையாக இருக்குது. இடத்துல இந்த ரெஸ்ட் எடுக்கலாம். சூப்பர் ஏரியா.
Yes, it was most interesting. The windmill seemed to be from an earlier age. Perhaps this was a devastating warning of the destructive power of unfettered industrialization. I most certainly had not forgotten about the windmills. I did not get carried away. You are missing the point. Perhaps because you are only a small dog. Oh, a brilliant, brave, spacefaring dog, of course, but a small Sabashka nonetheless. If you perhaps listened more and interrupted less, I am just getting to the explanation of the windmills. My stinky nemesis was back. But more interesting was the change in the city.
அழுவே மாட்டிக்கிட்டேன். இப்போ வரும். அதில் மாட்டிக்க விடாது.
My stinky nemesis was back. But more interesting was the change in the city. The windmills were fading out, clearly obsoleted, mothballed, relics. Instead, a sense of an obsession with power was apparent. Vast engines, terrible machines, ever hungry and reliant on the rapid consumption of fuel, the production of toxic fumes and choking gases. Pride, my pushisti compadre, pride, ambitia, ambition, the dark side of science. Zemechov's had too many. Don't be ridiculous, dog. Only a durak with the intellectual capacity of a ringworm would think windmills are in any way harmful.
செம்ம பிளேஸில் பக்கத்தில் ஜரம் என்ன அங்கே போக முடியாதாண்ணா இதை அங்கே எடுத்துகிட்டு போகலாம் வருது அப்போ வந்துடுது கேரளில் சாட்டலாம் ஜாம் ஐ செமையாக இருக்குது
Of course, you never had much of a chance to travel. Sarcasm doesn't suit you. You don't have the tail for it. You do, at least, have a tail. Mind you, family gossip maintains that so did Uncle Rabliem. Although it was apparently little more than a stub, and a source of considerable discomfort and social anxiety. The question of whether or not Uncle Rabliem wagged his stub is very much off topic. What I am trying to say is that your upbringing on the streets of Moscow meant you never saw the blackened fields of Magnitogorsk. The sacrifices made by the valiant citizens of that industrial heartland as they drowned in their own blight, even as they powered the state forwards. I was reminded of Magnitogorsk as I wandered through those fields of pipes and foundries. And I wept for the loss of innocence that so often goes hand in hand with progress.
எங்கே போகுது கண்ணாடி போட்டு எனக்கு ஓடி தட்டிக்கிறேன்
Indeed! I just evaded the slimy, oily grasp of that man-made Vadzinoy, his petroleum stink clogging my nostrils and making my head thump. And I felt a great stirring within me. Yes, much like I assume Cousin Pavel. May he never get loose again. But no, quite different. This was no volcanic upbubbling of gastric malintent. No, it was the roaring fires of justice once more ignited within me. I felt a swell of patriotic fervor and knew the hand of destiny had fallen on me once more. Yes, what a hand it was! I could not see this great wonder sink into an abyss of poison and bile. The Perunians may have been forced to abandon their city, but I had saved the world once before and was ready to answer the call again. What strange metal Bielorybitsa clearly designed to swim through the air? I was amazed. And there was more. Beneath the fins, I spotted the apertures of hoses and was reminded of the time Auntie Agrafina devised a contraption to water all of her copious algae beds simultaneously with one flush of the toilet by a system of pipes and valves that ran throughout her house. Можно так сказать, in a manner of speaking, yes. Her algae were most irrigated, although her neighbor Victor was washing his trousers in the sink at the time and was bruised quite severely about the face and body. But these were no ordinary flying metal fish. They were designed to expel air, fresh air, and push back the polluted clouds. There is, of course, a fine tradition of looking to nature to solve problems of a scientific or military persuasion. Yes, as you well know. My nephew, Sergei... Yes, the very same. Poor lad with his dermatological eruptions. Well, Sergei was stationed recently at Kazachya Bukhta, where dolphins... dolphins were being trained as brilliant aquatic agents of socialism. Why not then be inspired by marine life? Why, there is a fish, I have heard, that can shoot jets of water from beneath the surface to knock its prey off little tiny twigs and into its mouth. If you were to tell the average mushroom sheriff that a dog would orbit the earth, I suspect you would receive a similarly sneering response. No, that is because you are a small, hairy hound of uncertain parentage. I, on the other hand, am a cosmonaut, the product of many months of training, and I realized the answer to pollution was here all along. The Peronians, tragically, had simply never had time to finish their fleet. If only I could find a working flying fish. If only. If only. Yes. If only. It made perfect sense, of course. The poisonous Duchata that engulfed Perun was like a nasty cold. You know what to do with a cold to rid yourself of it. You may not get colds, but nor can you operate pea-shelling machinery. So, don't get ideas above your station. We humans, on the other hand, may produce up to 16 million perfectly unshelled peas in an average shift. But we are martyrs to our sinuses. But to clear them, aha! These are remedies we Russians have been perfecting over the long centuries of harsh winters. Onions. A quick snifter of onion oil will clear your head faster than a Pragviev can clear a hypothetical minefield. Yes, if I could find a functional fish, I would become that onion.
ஓரமில்ல அடிதான் கேட்க சரி வந்துட்டான் பாரு.
I was close. I could feel it. Yes, yes, the working fish, the ribka. I could feel I was at the heart of Perun, and my noxious pursuer had renewed its chase with a terrible vigor. Not far now. I just had to keep going, keep pushing. It's almost as if you knew, Pavel. Uncanny. Double-digit. There she was, a beautiful sight, her scales shimmering in the sunlight, her fins poised for action, her onion cannons primed for a great aerial conflict unseen in the annals of human endeavor. And you are just jealous it was a bigger flying machine than yours. No, bilious Paul. It was time for science to fight back. Yes, my hairy compatriot. Paechale! Onwards to victory!
இதில் எரிக்கக்கூடாது, எரிக்காமல் போனான்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஐயோ ஷோ லைட்டாக தட்டுப்பட்டுட்டு லைட்டாக கூட தட்டுப்படக்கூடாது. ஐயோ லாஸ்ட் சீன்ல வந்து மாட்டிக்கிட்டாங்க. ச்சே. லாஸ்ட்டாக போய் மாட்டிக்கிடுவோம் பாரு. அவ்வளோ தூரம் கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணி கரெக்டாக கொண்டு வந்துட்டு லாஸ்ட்டாக போய் மாட்டிக்கிட்டேன். ஐயோ மண்டல போடுது. ஜஸ்ட் மிஸ்ஸு. இந்த வாட்டி எப்படியாவது ஜெயிச்சிடணும். ட்ரை பண்ணேன். ஸோ மாட்டிக்காத. இன்னும் ஒரு வாட்டி விட.
It was a miracle. I found myself swooping through beautiful clear skies, the strange interior sunlight gleaming on the sides of my fishy vessel. I heard birds clear their little throats and begin their wondrous gavout, the wind gently humming on the fins. And then, all of a sudden, under it all, well, you see, in my hurry, it didn't even occur to me to check how much fuel was carried in the strange craft. With a horrible splutter, the engines choked and died. And suddenly we were plummeting downwards towards our doom. I did not. A simple mistake that many have made. Why, my Aunt Agrafina met her untimely demise being late for a fungal sculpting seminar and making exactly the same error. Only, unfortunately, it left her stranded in sub-zero temperatures just outside Pravakhetsinsk. She wasn't found until 18 years after her own funeral, but was perfectly preserved. Remarkable, really. It is beside the point, yes. So, there I was. My fabulous ship had become a terrible prison. I was hurtling to my almost certain death. My triumph turned to tragedy. But then... well, you know what happened next. Even so, moi magnati drug, that is a story for another time. A most extraordinary story, of course, filled with dangers and wonders, and canals, and invasions, and strange doorways to other worlds. But perhaps too long a story for now. Yes, indeed, my canine Tavarish. Time for soup. Auntie Agrafina's famous borscht. Coming. You know, I think you really did have the happier time in living. The benefits of being a suitcase-sized dog in a little space machine, perhaps. Ah, yes,